Hey there.
Good evening. Can you?
How you doing?
Okay.
You got the packet off the desk?
Yes, I did.
Okay, the one for land use board was underneath of it, and there were two.
I signed them.
Okay.
And they're on my desk, so on the front of it.
And I have a bunch of contracts that have to be signed. Ted sent.
Okay.
From Bill Person. We'll do them tomorrow.
Okay. I'll be in at lunch.
Okay.
I keep reaching for my mouse. And I don't have a mouse for this.
Hello there, sir.
And good evening. Good evening.
Good evening.
Hey, Mayor, how you doing?
Good. How are you?
I'm in Philly for my Shriners convention, and I'm filling in for our main recorder because he has surgery. So I'm like the secretary, the planner for this, the food for that, this, that, this.
All around.
Yeah, I had to go back to my room just to get some rest. It's been a rough weekend. It's only Monday. We started here on Saturday. Oh my God. I was on the call earlier and I was like, they're like, you gonna be on the call? I was like, I'm gonna try. But we got a lot of stuff to talk about. So I mean on the an executive. So I was like, I gotta get on.
Okay, who is this? Donna, is that you?
Rita, it's Tracy.
Oh, okay. I knew the number looked familiar, but I wasn't sure.
Hey Rita.
Yes, sir.
Did you send me that other email?
You know what? I sure didn't.
Okay, I'll make sure I didn't lose it by accident. No problem.
Because I had it, but it didn't print the way I wanted it to. I wanted to print on separate pages, so I got to reprint it again.
All right. Whenever you do, just throw it in my mailbox.
Okay.
I won't be back Thursday anyway. We'll probably
put
catch
one,
up on
put
Monday.
one in there. Put one in theirs also.
Yes, please. Yes.
Okay.
With everybody on vacation, we couldn't coordinate everything.
Okay.
Hello, everybody.
Hello, Ted.
Good evening, Ted.
One, two, three, four, five. Am I waiting for Brandon?
This is for Tim Howard. Tim, are you getting your Super Bowl Eagles jersey yet?
Yeah, you know how it is in Philly, man. And you guys are already going Super Bowl bound, you know. I'll tell you what, though, my Cowboys look like Jack. Oh, my God. I hate preseason anyway, though, but.
Isn't preseason just a colossal waste of time?
It is. It is. I don't get how college football teams can put out their starters on the first game and they look good. And the pros look horrible. Like nobody knows where they're supposed to be or anything. One thing for sure, these young guys' bodies don't hold up anymore.
Too much money.
Yep.
Michelle McCann, how is your son doing?
He is doing great. He just got his driver's license last week.
Has he decided where he wants to go to college?
He has not. That's a tough one. He can't figure that out yet. So hopefully in the next few months of school with his counselor, he'll be able to get some guidance.
It's a tough decision.
Yeah, it is. Thank you for asking.
We're waiting for
Laura,
Laura and Brandon. We have Brandon.
I'm here.
Hi, Brandon.
Hello.
Somebody texted us that they'd be there in 5 minutes. Was that Farrah?
No, I
Farrah's
see
here.
Farrah.
Oh,
We have enough to start though. All right, one,
Yes,
two,
we do.
3, 4. Okay. So we're gonna start. I hereby call the regular council meeting of the Borough Council of the Borough of Palmyra is hereby called to order. Roll call, please.
Mr. Almond,
Present.
Dr. Cloud, Mrs. Jenkins,
Present.
Mrs. McCann,
Here.
Mrs. Russell, Mrs. Russell,
Fixing her headset.
I can see her. I don't know what she's doing. President Howard,
here.
Mayor T.
Here. No, can't hear you still. All right, let's stand for the Pledge of Allegiance, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you.
All right, can you guys hear me now?
Yes, we can. Thank you.
Okay. All right.
In
I just-
accordance with the Open Public Meeting Act, N.J.S.A.10:4-6, etc., and in consideration of the Executive Order Number 103 issued by Governor Murphy on March 9, 2020, declaring a state of emergency and a public health emergency in the state of New Jersey. Please be advised the Borough of Palmyra does hereby notify the public that to protect the health, safety, and welfare of our citizens and to reduce the potential spread of COVID-19 and its variants while ensuring the continued functioning of government, the meetings of the mayor and council will be conducted as a virtual council meeting. Members of the public are invited to attend the council meeting virtually via computer or phone, but all members of the public participating in in the meeting virtually may be muted and the video images disabled. Notice of this meeting was published in the Burlington County Times on January 12th, 2021. Notice was posted on the municipal door, the office bulletin board, and the electronic sign on August 11th, 2021. Notice was also posted on the Borough of Palmyra website on August 13th, 2021, and notice was given to all council members. First thing is approval of minutes for August 2nd, 2021, the council caucus meeting minutes. Has everybody gotten a chance to look at them? Any questions or revisions? No? Okay. Maybe have an approval of minutes, please.
So move to approve those minutes.
Second,
Roll call?
Mr. Almond,
Yes.
Mrs. Jenkins,
Yes.
hang on one second. Here's Laura. Mrs. McCann,
Abstain? I wasn't present.
Mrs. Russell,
Yes.
President Howard.
yes.
Thank you. Correspondence, Rita, did we have any correspondence?
Yes, we have a couple items. First reads, Dear Ms. Jackson, this is to verify that the Public Records Imaging Processing System for the Borough of Palmyra was registered by the Records Management Services, RMS, on June 15th, 2021, and is in compliance with the standards, procedures, and guidelines adopted under NJAC 15:3.4, image processing for public records. Your system will be due for annual review and renewal of registration per NJAC 15-3-5.6 on October 1st of 2022. Sincerely, Robert Benko Jr., who's the Assistant Director of Division of Revenue and Enterprise Services, RMS.
Thank you. I just want to acknowledge that we have Councilman Dr. Laura Cloud with us. Thank you.
And I also have a letter that we received from Assemblywoman Carol Murphy, and it reads, Dear Chief Kilmer, I would like to personally thank you and your staff for your diligence in keeping our community safe. This past year and a half has been quite a journey, and I commend you for the time and effort the Palmyra Fire Department has shown. The responsibilities of a first responder are quite unique. I feel it is extremely important to recognize those who are brave enough to take on the daily challenges that are presented within this professional role. Again, I thank you for ensuring the community is safe even in uncertain times. If there's anything I can do, please do not hesitate to reach out. And she gives her phone number and address, and that is from Carol Murphy, Assemblywoman. And those are the only two pieces of correspondence that I have.
Thank you. Redevelopment. John, is there any updates on 73 that we can do?
Quite a few, Your Honor. Quite a bit going on at the Route 73 South redevelopment area, as everyone is aware. The site work is ongoing, and the importation of dredge materials from the Cinnamons and CDF is ongoing. That effort is getting close to wrapping up, and then they'll move into the Palmyra CDF and move that material over, which is over 200,000 cubic yards of dredge materials. I do, before I get into the site clearing aspect, we do have quite a bit on our agenda, probably for next month. We don't have an early meeting, you may recall, but we do have the second meeting in September. We have the long-term tax exemption, the pilot for both the affordable housing piece, and we're working on a revised application now for the second warehouse on the Phillip property. We also have a modified agreement that the redeveloper is working on for the second warehouse, based on different criteria that I have emailed about. But back to site clearing, we've had a number of residents reach out to us pretty upset, thinking that the redeveloper is clearing the Nature Cove. I know Bernadette had received some messages, and you did as well, Mayor, and we did in Borough Hall. The redeveloper is not destroying anything on the Palmyra Cove Nature Park property. What we see coming down, the trees, et cetera, being cleared are on the redevelopment area. And it's a little confusing once you're out there, because there is a peninsula of property where the affordable housing is to be constructed that kind of juts into the Nature Cove area. It's surrounded on three sides by the Nature Cove. And there are trails that have just been blazed right through there. So it looks like Nature Cove property is being affected, but that's absolutely not true. The redeveloper has installed orange fencing along the property line so everybody can see the delineation very clearly. Of course, the Nature Cove and the Bridge Commission folks are very cooperative and are fully engaged in everything that are going on. So I just wanted to assure everybody, and I had forwarded an email, copied most of you, I believe, about that. So if you get those kind of questions, we're not impacting Nature Cove. There will be, however, moving forward, once the redeveloper is preparing to remove dredge materials from the Palmyra CDF, there is some clearing that has to be done in order to give themselves access to the roadways from the Palmyra CDF, that's confined disposal facility, by the way, over to the redevelopment area. That is just routine, which they do every time there is a project that requires that material, like the one in Camden, the big project in Camden. So we're not touching the Palmyra Cove Nature Park. That's all I have on that, Your Honor.
All right, thank you. How about the outlaw training and fitness?
Andrew was on. Looks like he's driving, which is probably dangerous.
Not driving. I'm stopped, so that's not a problem. The real brief that, as you may recall, this matter was scheduled for a trial on the valuation of the property, which would really probably be a one-day trial. However, because of COVID, they were doing very few trials in any county. And so this one was deemed one that should be adjourned, and the court on its own accord adjourned it to a date to be set. They also may or may not set it for a settlement conference. That hasn't been decided, but it was adjourned. It was supposed to be today, but we had heard from the court about 2 weeks ago, and then officially we got it, I think, on Thursday, that it was adjourned. So right now it's up in the air when that will be rescheduled.
Thank you. C-Box, the
I'm sorry, Your Honor, we actually do have a bit of an update. Tracy Kilmer had received an inquiry from the property owner asking about the potential construction of an addition on that building. Tracy told him that they had to come before the land use board. I also asked Tracy next time she was in communication with them to tell them that they need to reach out to us as well, considering, of course, that property is in a redevelopment area, and we'll have to have those discussions.
Great.
Haven't heard back,
Thank
though.
you. Professional updates, William Kushner. Bill.
Yes, good evening, everyone. A lot of things to update you on. First, Temple Boulevard. Hopefully those of you in the area have noticed an uptick in the construction activity. I think that's in no small part to a letter that went out to the contractor at the end of July, essentially putting them on notice that they are going to get charged liquidated damages for this project because they're taking too long. Since then, they've been out, maybe not every day, but I know they have been out trying to finish up the work that's required. And though I myself am not in the office right now, I understand from talking to my field rep that they did a fair amount of site cleanup and punch list type work. They intended to do some paving today. They ran into a problem with material that was delivered from their supplier. Basically, it was a bad batch of asphalt and it did not set. So they ended up doing double work today. So they're about a day behind from the schedule that they told me they handed out to residents on Friday, which had them doing paving yesterday or today and tomorrow. So now they're probably going to end up going into Wednesday. But they have, funny how a nasty letter sometimes gets some response, and they seem to be back and trying at least hard, given their own proclivities to get this done. Additionally, there's been letters gone out about Fifth and Race. They have initiated the work on Fifth and Race. Again, they were told they have till September 3rd, and if they go beyond that, there will be liquidated damages involved with that. I know they worked last week and they pulled off Friday, today, and tomorrow to do some of the work on Temple. They intend to be back to Fifth and Race on Wednesday, although I'm concerned that the delay from today's paving issue may not put them back on Fifth and Race till Thursday, but time will tell. The other road program, the 2021 road program, also known New Jersey Avenue, that contractor is on vacation this week out of the country. He intends to return on the 24th, hand out his notices for the week of the 24th, and initiate work on the 30th of August. So that shall also get rolling soon. Looking ahead, after 17 months, the state finally got us a review letter on the Temple TAP grant, which is the work that's occurring, proposed to occur at the Temple and Firth intersection. That letter came in on Tuesday, and of course they needed a response by the end of last week, which we were able to do. John cooperated with me, was able to sign some of the things that they've requested. And essentially what one of those things is that once they give us permission to proceed, we've agreed to put the project out to bid within 60 days. So hopefully this is not another hurry up and wait thing after taking 17 months to do the first review. Hopefully we'll hear something in the next couple of weeks. A couple housekeeping items. There's a couple resolutions on this evening. 2021-173. It's a resolution to award work to environmental resolutions to do the Berkeley Avenue pump station design project. That project involves essentially upgrading the Berkeley Avenue pump station to handle the flow it handles currently, dealing with a bunch of safety concerns, as well as the flow from the redevelopment site, which will transfer through the site. And also, which a lot of people may not realize, additional work at the sort plant consisting of electrical upgrades. When we did the plant upgrades a few years ago, we did what we could to storm harden the facility based on some of the damage that occurred during the July 12th storm. We found a few other things we looked like we could improve upon, so they're wrapped up into that, as well as working with public service to relocate the plant's transformer, which currently sits about 4 or 5 feet below the flood level. So we want to get that up so it is not damaged during a future flooding event. So that's on the agenda for tonight. Also on is Resolution 174, the award of Veterans Memorial Park. Fortunately, I've let Tim from my office handle most of this, but we are recommending, and Brandon can chime in if he would. The low bid went to Command Company, and we are recommending all 3 alternates be included in that. Alternate 1 is modifications to the irrigation system. Alternate 2 would be the various flagpoles that to go up, 1 for each branch of the service. And alternate 3 is, I believe, one of the wishes from the Veterans Organization, which was to remove the brick pavers that lead up to the Liberty Tree because of their condition. They consider them to be an eyesore. So all of that, the low bid price was $121,857, if that's how you're so inclined to vote this evening. I think the only other item on the agenda related to anything specific to me, John will be asking for a liaison to discuss some of the park improvements on top of the Firth Temple rain garden. There's 2 steel decorative structures that have to go up. The foundations are part of the work being undertaken with the TAP, or Transportation Alternative Program grant, the one I just mentioned that we're finally proceeding with after waiting for a 17-month review. But there will also be these 2 decorative structures that we'd like some input on from a member of council to make sure we get this brought to fruition. So I think that's all I have to report on. I'd be happy to answer any questions if anybody has anything.
Anybody have any? Go ahead, Michelle.
Is there, hi,
Yeah.
Bill. Is there, I know it says the resolution is, the proposal was submitted for August 2nd for the Berkeley pump station, but is there like a time frame as to when that would get started or not yet?
Basically, this is the design work. So we would
Okay.
have to design the improvements submitted to the state for review and approval. And the funding for the construction is intended to be included in next year's capital budget. So if I were to use my crystal ball, I would say you'd be looking as early as next fall of 2022, before construction would actually commence.
2022.
Bill
Thank
is,
you.
Bill is spot on there. Construction estimate is about 1.3 million, something along those lines. You know, this is a project that we put off, you know, for a couple of years, but to kind of get a jump on it in advance of next year. Bill and I discussed about including in the capital ordinance this year, the funding necessary for the design work. So this is being funded via the capital ordinance that is up for adoption this evening.
Okay, thank you. That makes sense.
Anybody else have any questions? Okay, thank you, Bill.
Thank you.
Public comments. We request those participants wishing to have or make a public comment, email their questions or comments in advance to Municipal Clerk Rita Jackson at djackson@theboroughofpalmyra.com. The opportunity to submit comments prior to the meeting expired at 12 p.m. on Monday, August 16th, 2021. Comments submitted in a timely and complete manner will be read during the virtual council meeting. It may be necessary to follow up with the person submitting a comment at a later date. All comments will become part of the record and included in the meeting minutes. For those attending the virtual meeting, I will open the meeting to the public for comments. Comments should be limited to no more than 2 minutes. All comments will become part of the record and included with the meeting minutes. May I have a motion to open to the public?
Motion open to the public?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you. Rita, did we receive any comments?
I have one comment that we received, and that comment comes from Mr. Bernard Schmidt on Temple Boulevard, and it says, "Good day. As the fall approaches and Temple Boulevard is only 1/3 done, will this project be completed before winter? Why are the work crews only here 2 or 3 days a week? The original scope of the project was 120 days, and we are now past that and nowhere near completed. Why? This project was too big for the company you chose to do it, and they were not the lowest bidder. Why were they given the job? This issue speaks poorly to whomever oversees this project. Who is he? Are you holding him accountable? Lastly, is there liquidated damages in our contract with Think Pavers?" That was the comment.
Bill, I would imagine that would be a question for you.
Yes, I actually think Pavers was the low bidder on the project, so we really have no choice under current state law but to award it to the low bidder. As far as whether they're qualified or not, and the borough solicitor can back me up on this if he would, essentially in New Jersey, if you have a bonding company willing to stand behind you, you are considered qualified. Is that correct, Ted?
There is a mechanism for pre-qualification of bidders. We do not choose to employ that. That's a rather complicated and onerous procedure. Absent the pre-qualification standards being implemented, Mr. Kirshner is correct.
Okay. As I indicated in my report, yes, there are liquidated damages. The contractor's been put on notice concerning them. And I know his current schedule is looking to try to have the project wrapped up by Labor Day. And I understand the residents' frustration. I am equally frustrated, but essentially what the hammer that we have is liquidated damages and essentially not paying for work that is not done yet. Also, the state of New Jersey is also in some respect forced the law to side with the contractor that once he has completed work, we have to pay him for it within so many days, whether he completes other work or not. So if the state would untie my hands, I'd be happy to try some other alternatives, but I am forced to work within the confines of the law.
Thank you.
Mhm.
Any other comments, Rita?
No, that's the only one that I received.
Okay, thank you. We are open to the public.
Your Honor, may I make a quick
Oh,
statement before
sure.
you move on? I just want to say Bill has done a fantastic job, given the cards that he was dealt here by Think Pavers. They are doing more than one project simultaneous, as Bill indicated. And again, they were the low bidders. And as Mr. Rosenberg also indicated, they were due to be awarded both projects. So Bill is on this on a daily basis. We are in communication on a daily basis. And of course, I'm in communication with you, but Bill has done a very good job.
Thank you, John. Okay, we are open to the public.
Ms. Still?
Okay, can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Yes, we can.
Okay. Hello, my name is Valerie Still. I own my house on Veterans Drive since 1991, over 30 years. I've been to the last 3 borough meetings, and I was attending borough meetings. As you all know, I was a public information officer for the Palmyra School District. So from 2017, I've been attending meetings. I stopped after the unrefined way the council and former mayor Michelle Arnold conducted these meetings. So that's why I kind of stopped coming. A lot of people felt that way. A lot of the public did. I find it interesting, though, that the public doesn't attend council meetings now, even though they're virtual. I even noticed tonight there's not many. In the last local elections, Gina Tate, Bernadette Russell, and Pharrell Jenkins won with just a little over 1,000 votes. That's not even 2,000 residents voting on the mayor's position. It was, if I was an elected official, I'd be wondering why there's such a disconnect and disinterest from the public in the borough of Palmyra. But for me, if you want to know what I think about that, I think there's really 2 good reasons why I know I haven't come to meetings. The cat fights that happened when the council's Democrat members took joy in the petty attacks against the Republican mayor at the time was brutal. It was unproductive, and nothing was really getting done. It didn't think, for at least for the people, it didn't seem like it. And it's what we've been seeing happening in the United States with the partisan politics. And the second reason I think why people don't come to these meetings is that the fact that it really doesn't seem like anything we say, or it's going to matter anyway. I'm not getting any answers. I know I've been here for three times now and haven't really gotten any answers. So can I finish my statement, or someone want to address that? I mean, we can, or you can let me finish my statement and then you can address them. And hopefully, John, I know the last time I said a ton of things that I had questions about, and then you asked me, what did I have a question? So I am going to have 2 or 3 questions, and that's going to be it. But like the gentleman said in the last meeting, he felt like he was cut off. Like we should have 2 times, or we should be able to voice ourselves. But with that said, I have a few questions that still need to be answered. It would be nice to hear from the mayor too, who was elected by the people. From my research, a borough is organized with a mayor and council members who are supposed to make decisions for the town. So maybe, we can figure out, I don't know if the city administrator and his buddy, the city attorney, are elected officials that kind of run the borough of Palmyra, but since I've been on these meetings the last few times, it's been the city administrator who's, addressing all the issues and making decisions. So, and if that's the case, I'm wondering why isn't that the position of city administrator? Why isn't that an elected official? Why isn't that a position that the people decide? But the question I have for you today is that I can't find any recorded virtual meetings anywhere online for the public to view. I wasn't able to pull up the minutes from the last two meetings from July. I know July 19th is posted as is on, but I wasn't able to pull it up. Maybe it's my computer or whatever. I wasn't able to pull those minutes up. I want to see how it correlates with the video that I was able to get a copy of from Mrs. Jackson. Thank you so much for helping me with that. But I think these meetings should be more accessible to the public. I want to know, so write this down and you guys can address it later. Why aren't these meetings being put up for the public to see it right away? And can I post the ones that I have in my possession right now on social media or online so people can get, because I have people that are interested in finding out. And then secondly, and then I'll let you all, respond if you want to. On August 6th, I was invited to a special invite only event. Dr. Clarence B. Jones was named the recipient of the 2021 Thurgood Marshall Award. It's the highest honor awarded by the American Bar Association, aside from all the most important people from the ABA and special guests like Andrew Young. Former President Barack Obama gave the final comments. And the ABA had been requesting Mr. Obama for some time, but this was the first time he accepted. And it was and it was all because of who and what Dr. Jones represents. That's what Obama said. It was such a pleasure and just pride to hear Dr. Jones mention Palmyra High School in his remarks. That's Palmyra pride and Palmyra proud. Dr. Jones is 90 now, but he continues his war for social justice, and he inspires me and everyone else to do the same, making our world a just place, fighting for, as he says, the least of these. In 2017, as you all know, Dr. Jones and I founded the Clarence B. Jones Institute for Social Advocacy. By 2019, we had to reorganize the CBJ Institute and its relationship with Palmyra School District. We haven't been pleased with the underrepresentation of people of color in positions of leadership in Palmyra School District, and Dr. Jones and I have been very outspoken about that with the superintendent. It may seem like a small thing, but with half of the population, student population in Palmyra School District being students of color, it's unacceptable not to hire people of color in positions of leadership and not have better representation of the student body. And I know that's something to take on with the Board of Education, but I'm pretty sure that as elected officials, you all should be also cognizant of what's going on in terms of racial diversity, inclusion, and all those kind of things. The second thing that happened to us to make us refrain from our activities with the CBJ Institute or kind of quiet down was the highly publicized ethics investigation of former Mayor Michelle Arnold. Now, you all know Mrs. Arnold was one of the vice presidents on the board when we founded the CBJ Institute, and we were saddened and shocked by the allegations against her. I don't know her that well, but we were pretty shocked to read up on her online. In fact, we asked for her resignation right away when we discovered this corruption. We kept up with the investigation through online news stories. And we know that Mrs. Arnold has always claimed her innocence of these allegations, even though the Palmyra used taxpayers' dollars to do extensive investigations. So the second part of this question is what happened to that big ethics investigation that was brought against the former Republican mayor? Ironically, it all happened right before the local elections for mayor in 2019. Again, it was paid for by tax dollars that we pay into the system. So what was the final findings? Where can I get that report from? Because I'd like to find out how that ended up. And lastly, the 2021 Thurgood Marshall Award ceremony was incredibly inspiring. With the main thing was being that the legal system must work hand in hand with citizens to take a meaningful and active role in civic engagement and to fight against racial inequality, voters' rights, social justice, all those things, unequal outcomes. Mr. Obama says something that was it touched me in a certain way. He said, each one of us must ask ourselves, am I doing enough to contribute to the solution? I've been active in social advocacy and public service, but I have taken a vow now that I'm going to step my game up, because I don't think I've contributed enough to the solution, especially here in Palmyra, especially here on the west side. It's amazing that on the general election ballot in a couple of months, in November, I just found this out, only 2 Democrats are listed for 2 council members seats that will expire at the end of the year. And ironically, those 2 seats are taken by 2 people who will be running with without any competition. That's Council President Tim Howard and Council Member Michelle McCain. I'm a former elite athlete, and competition is what makes you better. The borough right now, the borough of Palmyra has no checks and balance. If you look across the board, it's all totally blue. And I'm not blue or red. I'm definitely not in that sense. Unfortunately, I discovered that I can't get my name on the ballot this fall. And although it will be difficult to win this November as a write-in, I'm hoping residents of Palmyra who are fed up with this nonsense writes my name in, Valerie still on the ballot. Next year, when I can, when I do everything I need to, I will be on the ballot for the people, we the people, Palmyra
Okay,
proud
Valerie,
people. So
Valerie.
yeah,
Valerie.
you haven't said anything, but you want to cut me off, okay?
Valerie, we do not discuss the politics.
This is not politics. This is not, everything I've said
Valerie,
is.
and you're over your 2 minutes.
Oh,
I
okay.
thank you
Well,
for the comment.
wow. We're hearing from the mayor this week to cut the public off.
Okay, Valerie, thank you.
Wow.
Well, I know you have opened the investigation and we are getting that together for you. And I don't know in reference to the meetings, Rita, could you answer that?
What exactly was the question?
Why aren't the meetings on the website?
Okay, I'm sorry, if we're talking about a video recording, we are not required to post a video recording of the meetings. Anybody that wishes to have a copy of the meetings can open request it and they can get it. We don't post that on the website and we're not required to. Meeting minutes are posted after approval. So you will never see the minutes until they have been approved by the governing body, and all the minutes up to the last set that you just approved have all been, they're all on the website. So
Thank you.
The set that we just did tonight will be on the website. Probably, give me a minute, by like tomorrow afternoon or Wednesday.
Can I post those videos, the ones that I have on social media? Can I post those so people that have been asking me, is that fine to post those on online?
Mr. Rosenberg?
The chair has not recognized Ms. Still. And with all due respect to our clerk, Ms. Jackson, I am duty bound to file the direction of the chair. If the chair wishes me to respond, I certainly will, but it is the prerogative of the chair.
Yes, please respond, Ted.
I see no impediment to Ms. Still if she obtains a copy of the video of the meeting, utilizing it in such manner as she pleases.
All right, thank you, Ted. Anyone else like to have a comment? Seeing none, can we close to the public, please? May I have a motion to close to the public?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Ordinance on second reading. Ordinance 2021-09 is an ordinance of the Borough of Palmyra, County of Burlington, State of New Jersey, amending Chapter 215 of the Code of the Borough of Palmyra entitled Sewers. We need a motion to open to the public, please.
So moved to open to the public on that issue.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Can we clarify that also for the public?
Sure, this is taking the sewers from the sewer bills with the churches, redoing those.
Thank you, Tim. That was a good point.
It is the base fee that is being eliminated, the commercial base fee for churches. So it'll reduce their fee considerably, about $700 and some odd dollars.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any questions? Seeing none, let's close to the public.
So moved to close.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Can I have a motion to, or does anybody in council have any questions? Seeing none. May I have a motion to approve ordinance 2021-09?
Motion to approve ordinance 2021-09.
I second that motion.
Roll call, please.
Mr. Almond,
Yes.
Dr. Cloud,
Yes.
Mrs. Jenkins,
Yes.
Mrs. McCann,
Yes.
Mrs. Russell,
Yes.
President Howard.
Yes.
Thank you. Motion passes.
Thank you. Ordinance 2021-10 is a bond ordinance authorizing the acquisition of various pieces of equipment and completion of various capital improvements in and for the Borough of Palmyra, County of Burlington, New Jersey. Appropriation sum $743,700. Therefore, authorizing the issuance of general bond obligation bonds and bond anticipation notes of the Borough of Palmyra, County of Burlington, New Jersey, and the aggregate principal amount of up to $668,090, making certain determinations and convents and authorizing certain related actions in connection with the foregoing. May I have a motion to open to the public?
So move to open to the public on that ordinance 2021-10.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone from the public that has any comments in reference to the general capital obligation bonds of ordinance 2021-10?
Operator,
Hi, Mr. Rader.
hi. Just a question. I have a copy of ordinance 21-21-10.
Okay.
And on the first page, it says an ordinance of the Borough of Palmyra amending Chapter 90 Vehicles and Traffic 90-6 time limit parking of the Code of the Borough of Palmyra and amending the time limit provisions included in ordinance 2021-18. That's a little different than what it says on my computer on 21-21-10.
Mr. Rader's referring to the sewer ordinance, I
Right.
believe. You know,
Yeah.
we're getting to
I'm
that stuff.
referring to 2021-10.
No, I think that the one he's talking about the parking ordinance, which is 12.
2021-10 that I have in front of me, and 2021-10 that's on my computer are different.
I think he's correct on that because what I have in front of me printed out. So just, I want to make sure it's talking about insurance general bond. It doesn't say anything about parking. So there's some kind of disconnect there.
I
Okay.
picked this up last week.
You
I
got-
just read it to you. Should I read the title to you again?
Mr. Rader, did you say parking was on yours? I just want to make sure I heard correctly.
Yeah, he said
Ordinance of the Borough of Palmyra amending Chapter 90 Vehicles and Traffic, 90-6 time limit parking, of the Code of the Borough of Palmyra and amending time limit provisions included in Ordinance 20-16-18.
I see that as
Ordinance.
2021-12.
Correct.
Right.
So he has
Is
it as
that the-
2021-10.
Is that the ordinance that you, Oprah, requested?
Yes,
You asked for ordinance 2021-12.
you gave me Ordinance 2021-10. You gave me two ordinances.
No, I only gave you one. I gave you one ordinance and I gave you the minutes showing you that there were changes that were being made to it.
Yeah, you gave me this ordinance, which I requested. And it says an ordinance of the Borough of Palmyra amending Chapter Vehicles and Traffic, and it goes on, there's 7 pages talking about all the changes to the parking and the times and specifically where the areas are. And you told me there was going to be discussion tonight. There were some unanswered questions that were in orange, I believe, that were going to be discussed tonight. And that's what I have in front of me.
That's ordinance 2021-12. That's the one you Oprah requested.
Why did you give me 2021-10?
No, I gave you 12.
Well, how about if I stop in tomorrow and I'll show you what you gave me?
Okay.
Okay, all right. Will there be discussion on
On
an
the
ordinance amending the traffic this evening?
Yes,
And what number is that?
12.
that's 2021-12.
That's 2021-12. Yes, 2021-12 is the one that's on, is the same heading as the ordinance 2021-10. So I guess the number 10 or 12, it still has all the pages. Are you going to make corrections to that ordinance? There's unanswered question to be answered to that ordinance this evening before it's addressed or before it's approved.
The corrections were made.
That's what Rita told me. Is that correct?
The corrections were made at the last meeting. And I gave you a copy of part of the minutes that indicated the changes that were being made to that ordinance because it was in the process of being completed.
And didn't you say that there were articles highlighted in orange that would be addressed this evening?
Those are the ones that are addressed in the minutes that you got. They addressed them at the last meeting. Yes. They addressed them at the meeting when they discussed it.
Okay, so there will be no discussion on this ordinance this evening?
Well,
Like
you
now.
can
it's a
be
public
questions.
It's a public hearing if you have questions.
No, there will be no discussion by council.
You mean insofar
And
as
changes.
changes? No,
Will there be changes made this evening?
no.
No? Okay, all right. I'll stop in tomorrow. Okay, it's not that important. I just had a few concerns. But let me just listen to it tonight and I'll stop in tomorrow or whenever you're
All right.
available. Okay,
Thank you, Mr. Rader.
I
Now
mean, part of it is that we've opened it. So if there are any questions, he's welcome, Mr. Rader, you're welcome to ask those questions
For that ordinance, right
For
now
that-
we're on
for
ordinance
that
11.
particular,
My understanding
when we
was
get
there
to
was-
that.
My understanding was there would be discussion this evening and some clarification on a couple. Let me read you one.
Well, let's, Mr. Rader, sorry to interrupt. Can it wait till we get to that ordinance? Is that okay?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
All right. Anybody else have any comments on 2021-11?
10.
Oh, 10. We're on 10?
Yes.
Ted,
Yes,
yeah.
okay, 10, I'm sorry. On 10. Now seeing none, may I have a motion to close to the public?
So move to close to the public?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any comments from council on 2021-10? Seeing none, may I have a motion to approve?
So move to approve this?
Second.
Roll call, please.
Mr. Almond,
Yes.
Dr. Cloud,
Yes.
Mrs. Jenkins,
Yes.
Mrs. McCann,
Yes.
Mrs. Russell,
Yes.
President Howard.
Yes.
Thank you. Motion approved.
Thank you. Ordinance 2021-11 is a bond ordinance authorizing the completion of various improvements to the sewer utility system in and for the Borough of Palmyra, County of Burlington, New Jersey. Appropriating the sum of $458,700, therefore authorizing an issuance of general obligation bonds or bond anticipation notes of the Borough of Palmyra, County of Burlington, New Jersey, in the aggregate notes of the Borough of Palmyra, County of Burlington, New Jersey, in the aggregate principal amount of up to $458,700, making certain determinations and covenants and authorizing certain related actions in connections with the foregoing. May I have a motion to open to the public, please?
So move to open this up to the public.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone have any questions in reference to 2021-11? Seeing none, can we have a motion to close to the public?
So move to close.
Second.
May I have all in favor?
No.
Close to the public.
Oh, I'm sorry.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any council comments on 2021-11?
No.
Seeing none, may I have a motion for approval of ordinance 2021-11?
So moved.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Mr. Almond,
Yes.
Dr. Cloud,
Yes.
Mrs. Jenkins,
Yes.
Mrs. McCann,
Yes.
Mrs. Russell,
Yes.
President Howard.
Yes.
Motion approved.
Thank you. Ordinance 2021-12 is an ordinance of the Borough of Palmyra amending Chapter 90 Vehicles and Traffic, 90-6 Time Limit Parking of the Code of Borough of Palmyra, and amending time limits provisions, including in Ordinance 2016-18. May I have a motion to open to the public?
So move to open that to the public.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right, Mr. Rader, what did you have?
Okay, let me read this to you. The heading is the same as on there. Mr. Corral indicated some additional information is needed. Item 1 will be the last parking space in the parking zone area closest to Tony's Barber Shop. Item 8, 4 perpendicular parking spaces on Broad Street before the angled parking. 1 space close to Cinnamontan Avenue will be a 15-minute parking space. Item 11, angled parking spaces on Little Broad from Cinnamontan Avenue to Chestnut Street, currently at 4 hours. What time limit should it be? Council agreed it should be 4 hours, except 15-minute parking in front of the post office. Has that been answered?
Your Honor, if I may.
Sure.
All of those, that discussion was held 1 month ago at the regular, at the council meeting. And they were the instructions or they were the changes, amendments that the governing body wanted to see. Since then, they have all been incorporated into this document. So what you're reading from, really, the minutes from the meeting a month ago, all of those amendments and decisions that the governing body has made are already included in this final document.
Thank you.
Okay, so 2021-12 is complete.
Correct.
Yes.
Okay, that answers my question. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else have any comments or questions in reference to 2021-12? Seeing none, can we close to the public, please?
So move closing to the public.
Second. Close to the public.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any questions or comments from council?
I just wanted to thank you to see that this is finally getting on the books. I know it's been an incredible amount of work. So I thank all that have put the time in. And I know the chief has been instrumental at looking at this as well. So this is a good thing. So
Yes, it
it
is.
will help our businesses. And then the next step then is to enforce it. Thank you.
Yes, and I want to also thank John with the chief, has spent a lot of time.
Of course, John, of course.
With that, and the new hires of the new S1 officers, we are hoping that we'll be able to enforce that to help the businesses. Thank you.
And
job.
just for this idea of the scope, this has been going, worked on for at least 4 years. And that's how long, because it has been so cumbersome. And it took so many people, and the chief was the icing on the cake, and as well as John. I don't ever want to leave out John, but I know he gets left out, but because he's always the force behind that. And it's not it's just to recognize a lot of time. 4 years worth of time is a lot.
Yeah.
Yes, it is. Thank you.
Thank
All
you.
right. We're on to the resolutions. Resolutions 2021-17.
Hold on.
I'm sorry, we need to vote on that.
I'm sorry. May I have a motion to approve the ordinance?
So moved to approve that ordinance on the parking.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Mr. Almond,
Yes.
Moved.
Dr. Cloud,
Yes.
Mrs. Jenkins,
Yes.
Mrs. McCann,
Yes.
Mrs. Russell,
Yes.
President Howard.
Yes.
Thank you. Motion
All right.
approved.
Thank you so much. Resolutions now. Resolutions 2021-171 through Resolution 2021-176 will be enacted as a single motion. If any resolutions need additional discussions, it will be removed from the consent agreement and voted on separate. Do we need it to remove any? No? Everybody good? All right. Resolution 2021-171 is a resolution extending the grace period for 2021 third quarter property taxes. Resolution 2021-172 is a resolution authorizing the cancellation of various municipal certificates. Resolution 2021-173 is awarding a contract to Environmental Resolutions, Inc. for the design of Berkeley Avenue Pump Station improvements per the proposal submitted August 2nd, 2021 in the amount of $97,500. Resolutions 2021-174 is a resolution awarding a contract to the Command Company, Inc. for the Veterans Memorial Park Enhancement Project in the amount of $121,857, which included alternate 1, 2, and 3 per recommendations of award letter dates August 11th, 2021 from Environmental Resolutions, Inc. 2021-175 is a resolution authorizing participation with the State of New Jersey grant program administered by the Office of the Attorney General, Department of Law and Public Safety, and accepting SFY 21 body worn cameras grant award in the amount of $42,798. Resolution 2021-176 is a resolution authorizing the payments of the August 2021 bills in the amount of $1,438,083.65. May I have a motion to approve consent agreement, please?
So moved for the consent agreement.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Mr. Almond,
Yes.
Dr. Cloud,
Yes.
Mrs. Jenkins,
Yes. I'm sorry. Yes.
Mrs. McCann,
Yes.
Mrs. Russell,
Yes.
President Howard.
Yes.
Thank you.
Motion approved. Thank you.
Motion to approve the treasurer's report from July 2021. May I get a motion to approve that treasurer's report?
So moved.
Second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Thank you. Public events, neighbor to neighbor. I did do 2 block parties the week that it was cool. We were down on Front Street and I met some very nice people down there, residents down there. And then I was up on Columbia Avenue. And it shows what I had in mind. 7 households came out to sit back and talk. And out of the 7 households, 3 of them were new and didn't know all their neighbors. So we stood out there and had water ice and talked for about an hour and a half. And we will be doing this as soon as the weather can break again, because I believe the Columbia Avenue and Front Street did enjoy it. Palmyra Market is Thursday nights. It began last Thursday. I know they had to, they ended it early because of the heat. But they will be out there again this week, and hopefully they'll be able to stay out to 8. On the mobile motor vehicle bus is Saturday, August 21st, 2021, from 10 to 2. Please, if you have anything that you need to get done from the Division of Motor Vehicles, go on out because it's a long line. And
Gina, sorry to interrupt, but the appointments, the slotted appointments are all booked at this point, just as an FYI. Yes.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
So it is a sold out event, which is a good
Wow.
thing.
They
Yes,
also
it
have a wait list of about 35 people. I talked to
Yes.
Jen from Troy's
Mhm.
office today, so it did
Wow.
fill up quick. If there are any vets on the call, also they are handling, hold on one second. If you're already going, that is, they are handling if you need to get the veteran designation put on your driver's license, or the Purple Heart or disabled vet parking placards. But again, that's only for people who are already registered for the event.
That's awesome.
I would love to see if we can, not we, but if they can do it again coming, because this was such a hit. So that was one suggestion I did ask Jen about. So looking into it.
Thank you. Townwide yard sale, Bernadette.
We are getting a bunch of addresses. So the website, not the website, sorry, the email address. I have people who are reaching out to me, so I just add you to the list. If you've reached out to me, you're covered. Otherwise, please email townwideyardsale@boroughofpalmyra.com, and your address will be put on the list, and the ones that are on the list will be on the map come the yard sale day, which is on September 18th. Please, can we change that to the 18th?
18th.
That's, yeah, it was supposed, I said that last time too. The 19th is the rain date.
Okay, thank you.
Mhm. And I just caught that myself when I went to say it out loud. So sorry about
Yeah,
not
I
saying
caught it
something
too.
earlier.
It is correct on the website though.
Yes, I did check that though.
Typed up
Not
here.
that I have to usually follow up, but I was like, oh, wait, but I get it. Thank you
Where
for
will
teaching
the
me.
Bernadette? Where will the map be available?
That's right now to be determined. So I don't have an answer to that. So still working out some of the logistics. So trying to get the harbor involved. Well, not try. I'm getting people to harbor involved. So because of COVID, it may be a digital link. So still working on that. That's what was done last year, 2 years ago, 2 years ago now, I want to say. So I'm looking at doing that again.
Okay, thank you. The Halloween parade, as far as I understand, it is going to be on the 30th. They are working towards that. Discussion items, Borough Hall staffing reopening to the public, Legion Field Community Center council meetings.
I guess the big ticket item here, Your Honor, is the former community center employees. Rita did reach out to them. Council was interested in, potentially having, one or both of those former employees coming back, recall from layoff, to clean restrooms, this fall. Rita has tried a couple of times. There is no interest at all from either of those ladies. So we don't have anything to report to you tonight in that regard. Not sure how you want to go. We're still proceeding as if we, in the same vein that we were before, that the restrooms need to be cleaned, every 2 hours, and we just don't have the personnel for that, especially after hours, of course. So we're still in the same spot that we were.
Okay, thank you. Proposed mandated COVID-19 vaccines for borough staff.
Yes, this is something that had come up some time ago, and you may recall Ted had issued a memo on this at the height of COVID in 2020, and so did Mark Ruderman. Mark is our labor attorney for police matters, and pretty much unsolicited, I received his August 5th letter, which is in your packet, and given the fluid nature of COVID-19 and regulations which are changing, we all know how quickly they're changing at all levels of government. He is now saying that it is acceptable for employers, including municipalities, to require vaccinations of its employees. In fact, the governor has done just that for healthcare facilities and some other facilities of that nature. So, the question, and he actually goes on to recommend that we in fact do that. Now, we have done a pretty good job maintaining those records. We have always been allowed to ask our employees who's vaccinated and who's not, and we have copies of everyone's vaccination card who has experienced that. And without getting too specific, all borough staff on the floor that Rita and I and Tanji, et cetera, work on, we're all vaccinated. Public Works, there is one gentleman who's in the process of being vaccinated. I don't know if he got his second yet or not. But we do have 5 police officers who are not. And I don't know about crossing guards. And, they are, for me, 2 concerning groups of people, of course, borough staff that, you may want to consider or think about whether they should be vaccinated or not. So, it's really a question that you have to decide. It's a policy situation. Police officers are first responders. Mark goes on to say here that it is a management prerogative if it's your decision to require those vaccinations of borough staff. However, we would have to negotiate the terms of that, how it affects individual employees. For instance, are they going to get, are they allowed to go get their shots, on the clock, things like that, which we've obviously already done and have permitted in the past. So this is something that we would have to negotiate directly with the Palmyra Police Association, some of those terms. But again, this is management's prerogative as to whether you want to allow employees into your building or in your cars or in the close proximity to the other employees being not vaccinated, for instance. And, we don't have those same concerns with from a negotiating perspective with the crossing guards because they're not represented. And it's really those 2 groups that we're talking about here. Everybody else already has it, so it's kind of a moot discussion. So it's really a decision that the governing body has to make.
Okay. Brandon, what do you feel?
I have a few things to chew on about that before.
Okay.
You know what? Yeah, that I'll shoot over to John a few questions I do have to see where I'm at with that.
Okay.
And this is just we're talking about now, John, just this would be all employees, but the only concern really now is the police department and possibly crossing guards, because we don't know. Some of those aren't. Well, the crossing guards, you're not sure, and the police department, we know there are a few that aren't vaccinated, but we could make that a policy with Borough Hall staff, and it wouldn't matter because.
Well, I'm saying you can't have separate policies for separate groups of employees.
Okay.
So the policy affects all borough employees, right? So you as management, your prerogative would be to require all borough staff to have been vaccinated, correct? So that's the policy that you're making. What I'm really saying is the folks who work in Borough Hall, on my floor, for instance, and in Public Works, they are vaccinated. We know that. We have copies of their vaccination cards, right, which we are permitted to ask for. I'm just telling you as a matter of fact, I'm aware that some number of police officers have not been vaccinated, and I don't know about the status of crossing guards simply because they haven't returned to work yet, right? I mean, still in August. So for all intents and purposes, the policy doesn't really affect, Borough Hall staff so much, making the distinction between police officers and the rest of the staff, because, I happen to know that everybody's vaccinated. So that was kind of the distinction I was trying to make there.
Okay.
So
And what
can
about,
I say? Go ahead. Go ahead, Grant.
what about if one of them do end up testing positive or, have to quarantine because they've been exposed? Does that come out of their?
That's a completely separate policy. And we've already been down that road, a dozen times with employees who have tested positive, frankly. And there are different rules as far as how long they have to quarantine, things of that sort. That's all dictated by the CDC. So we follow CDC.
No,
guidelines.
I meant where does that time off come from? Does that come from their personal sick time?
No, the state has allowed municipalities to provide special sick time for those sorts of activities.
And that's also with the police department.
Absolutely. The governor, yes, we're not, it's not anybody's goal to penalize people because they got COVID, right? So.
Okay.
Understood. What I was kind of getting at was that, you have people that may get it that are vaccinated. Do you know what I mean? They've taken the precautions to lower their chances. But then there's others who may not get vaccinated, choose not to get vaccinated, and then
I see.
Do you see what then they're using not their sick time, for those reasons.
There has been no distinction made between those two groups of people.
Okay.
So we haven't had anybody who's vaccinated get sick, so we haven't crossed that road, right?
Right.
It's a possibility, but we've had many people who weren't vaccinated get sick, and we've been able to utilize special time allocated for that. Special with sick time is what I want to say.
So can I ask everybody to think on this and email John, please? If you have any certain questions or opinions on that, so we can move forward in the next meeting with that.
I appreciate that, Your Honor. My concern with that is that meeting is not for a month.
Right.
Okay.
That's that, so, if you wanted to, that's a whole month. That's all I would suggest. I mean, if you're
School
inclined,
starts in the beginning of September.
if you're inclined to wanting employees to be protected, and again, you just hit the nail on the head. School starts beginning of September. We can't tell crossing guards they have to be vaccinated without telling me and others that we have to be vaccinated. That's the issue.
So what's the opinion, guys?
I think, being we already have most of the staff vaccinated, anybody coming on moving forward, I don't think it should hurt anything by saying, we require you to be vaccinated. We have people in Borough Hall vaccinated now, and they could also still contract it, and they're most likely contract it from somebody who's not vaccinated. That's not guaranteed, but I'm just saying that could happen if we have crossing guards come in, they're in the building, they're not vaccinated. I'm leaning to asking people to get vaccinated, requiring. We got 80% of our, about 90% of you guys, John, vaccinated already, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, and then if they do decide to get vaccinated, it's going to take that 30 days because they got to take one shot and then they got to wait 30 days. So if we put it in now that, we require you to get vaccinated, start reaching out to our crossing guards.
Farah, your opinion?
I had two thoughts. One, I wanted to think on it like Brandon. Just far as actual how I feel about making somebody, you know, I guess requiring means making somebody get that.
Right.
You know, so I guess I'm on the fence with that. But I also wanted to talk a little bit more about the other part that Brandon brought up, far as the pool of monies where that sick time come from, because I do know firsthand that a lot of companies, including schools, have decided not to pay that, create that additional funds anymore. That if you got sick, even from COVID, vaccinated or not, that you were using your own PTO. So I just would like to explore that a little bit more, because I personally feel like that once you have a different perspective too, I mean, because our objective is to try to get everything back running, you know, if we can safely. But ultimately, I think some people do need to be incentivized towards those efforts. And I mean, it doesn't really sound like we have a lot of defenses when it comes to that. If we're still paying, or people are still being paid to quarantine just because they was maybe close to somebody who got it, then there's no incentive for them to get the vaccination or try to protect themselves in that way.
Isn't there, John, isn't there a certain amount of days that you could use?
You know, I can forward that policy to you tomorrow, but we allocated and the governing body approved the block of time for everybody to use COVID-19 sick time. Donna tracks it in the payroll office for folks who were exposed or may have been exposed and are quarantining, et cetera. That is a separate block of sick time that has been made available to employees. Not everybody has needed it, right? Because not everybody has had sick days due to, exposure.
That's true, but we've also had people who've used that multiple times. And all I'm saying is that not so much get rid of it, because I do like the idea of being able to help our employees in that way. But I think we should tighten that grip a bit, because according to the CDC as well, things are moving with people being vaccinated and, all these safety precautions that we are taking, far as still having a little bit of people in the building and still masking and all of these things, we should still be able to get a little bit tighter on those parameters as well. Like, for example, a person that's vaccinated, and this is according to the CDC, a person that's vaccinated, if my husband come home from work and he got COVID, even though he's vaccinated, i.e. because I'm vaccinated, don't have to quarantine.
That's correct.
So
and they change
now I'm sorry, go ahead, Mia.
That's the rules all change.
Right, so that's what I'm saying. Then the rules that we put in place at the height of COVID for our employees should now change as well. That's all I'm saying. Maybe not go away, but should they change? They should. They should be updated with the new CDC policies.
Well, I'm happy to look at that too. We can.
And I see that, but with the numbers rising right now, I think we need to keep a hold on it.
But even until the CDC decides to change what they're saying, because even with the Delta variant rising, they're still pushing forward. And when I say they, I'm talking about the government. It's still pushing forward with its plan to open back up. So Palmyra can't be the place that's still closed if everybody else is open. Because then we're not in compliance with the CDC either in that method. Safety-wise, awesome. But that's not the reality for each individual resident. That may be our rule here in town, but that'll be it. We'll still be, everybody else will be open. So it's just something to consider. Everything has to change. That's all. And I feel like that will be more incentive for people to go and get vaccinated, opposed to just saying you got to do it. That's just something to consider.
Thank you. Tim? You you have any opinion on this?
No, it's a shame I'm with Farrah and Brandon, because it's a lot to take in, a lot of different directions, and I'm not sure about the legal side of it, of different things going on. But as in January, I don't know what changed in January of this year, but the county sent out an email saying that you got to use your time if you come down with COVID. And it was like a 2-week email said on the 31st, if you get COVID this year, use all your time, all your PTO time. So I don't know where that changed that with the CDC. So, but it's the pros and cons are just, I don't know.
If I may.
Okay.
I'm sorry, Brandon.
The policy regarding sick time, that's an internal one we created, correct?
Correct.
Okay, so my opinion on what I was getting at earlier, and Farrah kind of drove it home, was I think everyone should be vaccinated. I think that's in the best interest, but I also don't know that that's something that we can require as a governing body for our employees. But I think if Farrah said incentivize, you could say nudge them in the direction of, if you get it and you've gotten vaccinated, you've taken that, you've taken that on, that responsibility, we can cover if something happens, if you need to be quarantined, or if you need to be, if you're out if you do get it and you're out. But, it might make other people that don't have that safety net saying, well, I really don't want to lose 2 weeks of my sick time.
Right.
It might nudge them forward.
Well, we are providing a safety net, and I guess from my perspective, if you want incentive, turn the news on. Watch, take a look.
Right, I know, but that hasn't been incentive enough sometimes.
That's exactly my
sometimes
point,
it comes down to, the dollars and cents and how it's affecting each person individually, and if they're going to lose money.
But it's not you're not affecting, think of the other people that are being affected because, our building is a public space, right? Kids walking to school, police officers entering, someone's home, public works, doing what they do, around residents. I guess I appreciate everything that everybody is suggesting as far as our policy and COVID sick time, things of that sort, but I think we also have other responsibilities that we have to consider as well. I can see that this is, everybody is concerned about it, and, thinking more about it. If, for instance, that the governing body said tonight, decided you did not want to require staff to get vaccinated, well, then the conversation is over, right? So 30 days from now, your next meeting doesn't really mean anything, right? So why not do this? Considering there's a lot going on, I can forward you information about our policy. We can kick this can down the road another 30 days, and then make a decision at our regular council meeting on the 3rd Monday of September. And what we'll try to do in the interim is just provide you with as much information, where we're at, what we're doing, that kind of stuff, so you can think about it globally and go from there. Because again, if you said no tonight, it doesn't matter that we have a meeting in September, right? That our next meeting is in September, because the conversation will be over. So no harm, no foul, in other words.
Well, my issue though with it is that's 30 days that we have officers that are interacting with our townspeople, and that are, regardless of whether you've been vaccinated or not, you can still be a carrier. This is why I still choose to remain at home and not go into Borough Hall, why I still make a lot of the decisions that I do make. The numbers are increasing, and I think it is something that we absolutely can ask of our employees to do for the safety of all of our community.
Kids go back to school before our next council meeting.
Yes, they do.
Michelle McCann, do you have any
It's hard for me to say sitting here that I would require people to get the vaccine. That's my initial thoughts on that. I also have, I think I emailed John a question in regards to also people who can't get the vaccine. I know that sounds weird. I have 2 friends that have very horrible allergic reactions to other vaccines and flu shots and things like that. So they're just simply not getting it. So there has to be some kind of verbiage on that if we do come up with a policy as well. Like, I don't want people losing their job because they can't get, or, you know, because they can't get the vaccine.
Mark Ruderman includes in his letter, and I'll read this because that's an excellent point. And I'm aware that some employees are concerned, you know, about their physical well-being and how this may affect their health. And I appreciate that immensely. He does say that federal EEO laws do not prevent an employer from requiring all employees physically entering the workplace to be vaccinated for COVID-19, subject to the reasonable accommodation provisions of Title VII and the Americans with Disabilities Act and other EEO considerations. So I think that is legalese for if you have a condition that the government recognizes that would prohibit you from being vaccinated, you don't have to be vaccinated. And there are other precautions that you could take. He also goes on to say, this means that employees who may object to receiving a COVID-19 vaccine due to a sincerely held religious belief or a disability covered by the ADA may obtain a reasonable accommodation from their employer. So, you know, I don't know how rigid, you know, a reasonable accommodation is that we would have to consider. Ted is here, he can probably weigh in. Maybe it is rigid. We would have to stick to the guidelines, EEOC guidelines, right? And that's that. But there is that language that he included in his recommendation that says a reasonable accommodation can be provided to employees with these particular, you know, concerns, I guess is the right word.
Thank you for answering that.
And I just wanted to include also, I remember teaching in Willenboro a couple years ago, and one of my parents refused to get her child the flu shot. And the public school made mom take the child out during flu season. So to them, that was a reasonable accommodation that the kid could not attend school during flu season. So I just think, you know, it's something to think about. I think back to the point that Brandon first led with, I think if we change our policy far as leave and where how that whole thing plays out, I think that would encourage employees to reconsider the whole vaccination thing. I think that might, because the teachers are not even there. Michelle, are they making you guys get vaccinated?
Not at this time, not that I'm aware of, no. But Charles Street, I was told, is almost 90% vaccinated staff, which is awesome.
Right, but that is awesome. But that's still choice. That's still not a mandate. And as many people go through the borough offices, you can't tell me that the schools is not saying equal, if not more amount of people. It's more risk there.
But which state has mandated? Is it California?
There's a number of them. There's a number of them now that have mandated the vaccine, especially in all school buildings.
Right.
One thing I wanted to interject too was that I had also emailed John, said that my only thought was that if there was any medical reason, but there's a big difference between the J&J and the Pfizer and Moderna. And so the only thing I would say is to make sure that you get educated if you do have some kind of reactions, because, you know, but again, that's to the science, that's between you and your doctor. And that was, again, something I had emailed John about, and he had also mentioned about Mark's opinion. So I think, in all honesty, if it is something that's reasonable, that it is not a medical concern, that for the sake of our residents, that's my opinion, that everybody should be vaccinated.
Well, the only one we haven't heard from is Laura. Laura, you have an opinion on this?
Sure. You know, I think that requiring folks to be vaccinated is the most logical choice in terms of protecting our public. So I think that that makes sense. I realize that there are some caveats about whether or not you can or can't, if you can't be vaccinated, but I think that it makes sense for us to be asking folks to do so.
Okay, so it looks like,
Mayor, may I just comment?
sure.
In the past, a very valuable source of information has been our GIF. This implicates insurance concerns. I'm wondering whether or not the GIF has adopted a recommended policy. I know that our administrator is our representative to the GIF, and I was wondering if we could inquire of them.
You know what? I can certainly do that. I am also aware that they haven't adopted that policy. It is something, keep in mind that the GIF has paid out many hundreds of thousands, if not millions, in workers' comp claims, vis-a-vis COVID infections, right? So they are, trying to be as proactive as possible. Having said that, I do know that they haven't provided their member municipalities, and there are 28 of us here in Burlington County of the 40 municipalities. They haven't provided that instruction or direction yet. So what I can do is just that. I can reach out to the GIF. I can get the other information that Brandon and Farah have discussed and Bernadette mentioned. In other words, I'll send you more information, whatever we can find, whatever we think is relevant, and go from there. I don't know what else to do at this point.
Okay, thank you for that.
John, in the meantime, are we able to, if the rest of council, is on board, amend that sick time thing? So while we have, the next 5 weeks to chew on it, we may be able to nudge an employee or two into getting that. Are we able to take any action on that tonight to just?
I'm not prepared.
Okay.
To take. We've amended that twice now. We've amended it once. We've implemented the policy, then came back to amend it, right? So I think that you have been as generous as you can be and as proactive as you can be in that regard. But that is a wrinkle that I hadn't anticipated for tonight. I see that Donna is on. We'll have to convene tomorrow. But to give you one more piece of information and how it's tracked, monthly Donna issues to all employees the amount of vacation time, sick time, PTO that they have available, kind of as a service to our employees, right? Based on the time off that we use during the month, right? Tracked on that document is COVID-19 sick time as well. So, that's how serious, we take this. X amount of time has been allocated and Donna tracks it, so, and we're pretty strict about that, as we are with all time off requests. So let me do just that. Let me huddle up with our management team over the next week, get you more information, and we'll go from there. I think it was a big positive that you're having the discussion. So
yes,
thank you for that.
Okay, thank you. Temple Boulevard, storm drain, rain garden, point of contact. I am happy to tell you we had 2 council people that reach out and say that they would like to help. We have Councilwoman McCann and Councilwoman Dr. Laura Craig said that they would like to help out. So we will give your information to Bill and see, because we found out with Brandon working with the Veterans Park, it went a lot smoother with somebody as a point person.
For everybody else.
Thank you. Yep.
Yeah, it went real smooth for everybody else.
Yeah, but thank you. Thank you for volunteering your time. The community center HVAC, John.
Just on here, I was hoping to have more information for you tonight. We are soliciting proposals. I don't have good news, but I'm trying to fine tune the information with Bill. So I will be emailing you, but we're looking at one of our units that has to be replaced is no longer manufactured. And of course, our specific design, takes all of that has to be taken into consideration. So we're working on it, but it's not good news at this point.
Okay, thank you. The trash collection.
One of the biggest pains in the neck that we have to deal with on a daily basis, and all of you know firsthand everything that we go through, and everybody on this call. Linda is in literally, trash day. Ellie just put the trash out, right? It'll be picked up tomorrow, knock on wood, right? Or not, and all day for the next 3 days, Linda and Amanda and Tangi and Rita, they'll be getting calls one after the other. My trash has not been picked up. I have threatened, we talked about liquidated damages earlier. We put a liquidated damages clause in our agreement, okay, with the last 2 contracts. And that is something that, for trash contractors, it's just unheard of. We've had to threaten that in order to get Republic to come out and pick up the things that they've missed. It's horrible. So before I go any further, basically, there is an extreme shortage of drivers, CDL drivers. That's what really is driving this issue, no pun intended, right? Experienced commercial driver license certified drivers, extreme shortage. And which are required for everything from school buses to trash trucks to the recycling trucks, etc. All of our employees of Public Works, CDL drivers. So, so there's a lot of turnover. There's a lot of things going on, and the result is we're getting new trash collection drivers on a weekly basis that are essentially brand new. Right? They don't know Palmyra. It's not the same people coming through on a continual basis. I'm just telling you that's part of the problem. What I think we should do is I think it's time for Ted to get involved. It's one thing hearing from me that we're going to, that we're threatening liquidated damages. I think it's another thing entirely to get a letter from an assertive lawyer who says that in writing. So I would ask for your permission to pursue that avenue.
Yes, please.
Yes, please. We need something positive to change. The last couple of weeks have been, and I know because I've been messaging both of the mayor and the administrator, because last week, 2 weeks ago, there was a number of houses, streets on the opposite side, the river side of the tracks that were not done. And then this past week, it was a number of blocks, houses not done on this side. So I don't know if that was playing games. And then the only ones that they responded to were the ones who had called and were given streets. There were still other ones that ended up still the second round being missed. So we need a solution.
We do.
Yes, we do.
It's trash day is no longer one day a week. It's 4 days because that's how long it takes them to get through town after they've missed everything the first 3 days.
And I agree.
So, all right. So Ted,
All right, thank you.
I'll coordinate with Ted.
Thank you.
The Riverton Jetter shared service, we are meeting internally to try to figure that out. I have spoken with the mayor of Riverton, so we'll figure something out. Salary Review Committee, miscellaneous issues.
Well, Tangi is here full-time, started on Friday. Thank you very much. And Tangi's on the call tonight. We're happy to have her.
Yay.
She's a great employee. Don't tell her I said that. I don't want her to get a big head or anything. But anyway, we were waiting in part for, Tangi to be on full-time so we can have a discussion about internal personnel, moving them around, that sort of thing without getting into too much detail. So, this week, again, senior management team will have a discussion vis-a-vis our recommendations, and we'll go from there.
Thank you. Brandon, PHS student representative guidelines update.
Yeah, made a few very minor changes, mostly to the term of service, and with the addition of their duties and responsibilities added on there, that they should be working on either a community or school-based project. This was with input from Masebo, the high school teacher. I'm sorry, principal, high school principal. So the plan is, unless there's any issues with this, they would have this put up on their website along with their application, so we can get more students involved in this. They can publicize it a bit more. I know that was kind of my main issue with this over the past few years, that it hasn't gotten enough traction and got out there. But I think working with the school directly to get this out there will make some improvements. So if everybody's good with this, it's really the same body of work that's been going on, since we started a few years ago, just tweaking it as it goes, to see what really benefits us and the students, and hopefully, we can get that on there by the fall.
All right, that's great. Thank you for all the work.
Mhm.
The annual New Jersey League of Municipalities Conference in Atlantic City, November 16th to 18th, 2021. Please get a yes or no in early, because they have rearranged the pricing of the conference, that if we get it in earlier, it's cheaper. So please email John and Rita whether or not you would like to go.
What
Was there-
dates was that again, Mayor? I'm sorry.
It is November 16th to 18th.
You could let us know by the next council meeting. That gets us in it ahead of the deadline, which is
Deadline.
October 1st, for the best pricing
Are we,
option that the mayor indicated.
oh, sorry. Are we aware of any virtual options available this year?
Not
I don't
yet.
know, Bernadette, that's a good
Okay.
question. I don't know the answer to that.
It's supposed to be in person. They haven't come up with any virtual options.
All right, thank you.
Okay, the mosquito spraying. Comments and concerns.
I know this is a topic and is very important to some of you. There was spraying in our community the other day, and frankly, I didn't know about it until the following day. Essentially, what happens, just a little background. The county places traps, mosquito traps, all throughout the county, and essentially what they do is they check those traps, and they're looking for things like West Nile virus, etc. If they get a positive hit, then they spray for mosquitoes in that neighborhood, typically a half-mile radius around that infected site. So, and it's not something they give us a lot of notice, if any. Frankly, we have very little notice, because obviously it's a public health issue, and they're firing up the trucks and they're going out later that day, sometimes the next day. My point is, sometimes we don't know in advance, or we find out too late, or the time of day, et cetera, prevents us from posting this sort of thing on our website. That's what happened with this last event last week. There was spraying. We just didn't have enough warning to be able to notify residents. And I know that's concerning. So, and somebody, and Amanda, who was on tonight, had done she was monitoring Facebook about this issue, and it suggested that there were mosquito dunks that look like Dunkin' Donuts, actually, little mosquito donuts.
Those
It's
are
in your
for
packet.
Those are for larger areas. They also have the little bits that were smaller areas. So for example, we use the larger ones in ponds and the smaller ones in a bird bath. So just as an FYI, there's different kinds.
Okay. Well, what Amanda just got them from Schwering's. He sells this particular brand and has some number available. So it was suggested maybe we want to buy, whatever we can get from Schwering's, give them out to residents, and then, on a first come, first served basis, and then tell folks, we only have 20 or whatever we have, please buy them at Schwering's thereafter, something like that. Help him, help our residents, etc. I mean, if we can, more mosquitoes we can kill with these, maybe it saves us one spraying, who knows?
Okay.
So with your permission, we
Council.
could buy them and just make them available.
Is that okay with council?
Sure.
Yeah.
It's
One of the things too is that the county was giving misinformation as well, because some residents were being told that just let us know if you have an organic garden or if you have a health issue, and we won't spray by your address. Well, once you spray it, it's in the air. It's, I'm not sure what that was supposed to succeed in doing. And then the second, another person who had called, there was no option given unless you have a health issue. So just as an FYI there as well.
All right, thank you. All right, it looks like yes, John.
Okay. We'll
All
get
right.
something posted on our website, including, you know, we'll recycle, like it did, you know, about the mosquitoes. And get that.
Okay. Ballot boxes.
I'm gonna
Ballot box.
refer this to Rita. She can fill you in there.
The Board of Elections will be placing ballot boxes in every municipality in Burlington County before the general election. For anybody who has seen the one in Cinnaminson, they look like that. They similarly would be, their preference is that they are someplace closer to the municipal building, but you can put them anywhere in your municipality. I think we have located a spot in front of the building. They need to be monitored by camera, and the ballot box is only open during the time of elections, and all that you can get in there is that ballot that they send out for mail-ins. But it is coming, and it will be installed prior to the general election in November.
Thank you.
Oh, and one other thing, the cost for the concrete pad that it has to be on and the camera that needs to be monitoring it, the county will reimburse us for.
Oh, okay. That's good. Because isn't the camera out there anyway? We just have to cut back the bushes.
We cut back some of the bushes, but because the camera is movable, and if there were a situation that warranted the police having to move it for some reason, I just thought it would probably be better if we had a camera specifically focused on that box so that it would never move.
Okay.
It'll catch
Thank
up
you.
coming and going.
Thank you, Rita.
Mm-hmm.
Grant opportunities.
Nothing new here to report, Your Honor. These are just a couple of things in the pipeline we're working on.
Okay. Legion Field and Community Center usage ordinance.
And all of these items below, Your Honor, are basically placeholders. I know the governing body is working on some of them. We're working on some of them internally. They're just on here to, you know, save the place.
Okay. So we don't have to go down them.
No, you don't.
Okay, thank you. Administrators report.
Just a reminder that the online tax sale is being conducted on September 14th. We have information posted on our website. You can specifically on the tax collector page, you can find some information there. This is the first time that we're doing an online tax sale. It's typically done in person. So Tangi's got it under control, no doubt.
Okay.
The technical assistant to the construction official and code enforcement officer positions are advertised on our website. The advertisements are in your packet, including a job, a general description for the job for code enforcement officer, which is pretty comprehensive. That's just a guide though, frankly, because we're not civil service, but and Rita has them advertised in different places. So we'll keep you up to speed on that.
Thank you. Anything else?
Nothing else from me, Your Honor, but we do have items that we have to discuss in close, unfortunately.
Okay. No problem. Let's go down the line. Bernadette, any comments? Bernadette? Any comments?
Sorry, no, thank you.
Michelle, any comments?
No comments. Thank you.
Thank you. Brandon,
No, nothing this evening.
thank you. Tim,
Just like to thank the chief and everyone that came out with Public Works to help out for National Night Out. I couldn't make it because I was working late, but I heard it was a success. So great job, Chief, and the police department, the fire department, Public Works, and all of our members from council and the mayor that was there. I heard we had a good time.
You did. Thank you.
Yep.
Laura,
No comment for me.
thank you. Farah,
No comments, thank you.
all right, thank you. We discussed everything on my list. So I just hope everybody has a safe holiday and to stay safe. Please remember your mask. And as John says, we do have something for closed session. So resolution 2021 dash.
Before you do that, Mayor, I just did have a quick question. I know that I posed it to yourself and to John regarding the internet in our town and what is it that council can do? And your reply basically was that we as a town cannot do anything. Is that correct?
Correct.
So-
It's not up to the town. First of all, there's a franchise agreement with Cinnamons and with Comcast and Palmyra, correct? John? I can't hear you.
John, you're muted.
You're muted, can't hear you.
That was a joke. Comcast has the franchise to provide cable service in Palmyra, correct? So that's typically how we're speak, about this more intelligently than I can, actually.
The mayor and the administrator are 100% correct. The Board of Public Utilities is the regulator. The only ability of the borough is we have to pass upon their franchise every so many years. We recently passed upon their franchise, and my experience is that they generally are receptive when the borough reaches out to them regarding service issues. So perhaps the best approach here is something that I'm not particularly good at, and that's the olive branch. Why don't we have somebody contact them and express our concerns about the service, and there is a chance that they may favorably respond.
All right, I will do that. But also what I informed you is that our central office, whoever has the other company with copper, that's all that's in that central office. So what you were looking for, the conversation we had on Saturday night, would not be coming this way. The infrastructure is not there to have it come this way. But
Mayor,
I will, go ahead.
I beg your pardon. I
No,
was
go ahead.
simply going to indicate that if we are going into executive session, the two exceptions to the Open Public Meetings Act which are involved are, number one, contract negotiations. That's with our redeveloper Pure, and also potential litigation that concerns the other redeveloper Outlaw.
Okay, thank you. So it's resolution 2021-177, resolution excluding the public from certain meetings pursuant to Section 8 of the Public Meetings Act, C 231P.L.1975 for the matters relating to negotiations and contract and liability. May I have a motion to go into closed session, please?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right, thank you.
Are we staying here, Rita? Or are we joining a
Um,
breakout group or?
No, we're gonna go in a breakout room.
Laura, you've been in your car a long time.
You're not kidding.
It's dark now.
It is dark now. You're not gonna be able to see me soon.
Or you can just kick everybody else out. No?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I'm missing somebody. Who am I missing?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5,
Where that?
6.
See Laura, Michelle, Brandon. Where's Tim? Oh, I got him. Well, let's just see who am I missing. You'll tell me in a minute. Gina.
See you later, guys.
And I'm like, how come her name doesn't come up on there? Because you're not coming up in my thing. Why?
I don't know.
Oh, because your thing says Tracy Kilmer.
Mm-hmm. All night.
Did you get it?
Yep.
Okay.
From the last year.
Yeah.
Okay, hold on 1 second.
Second to open.
A resolution of the Borough of Palmyra authorizing redevelopment council and/or the borough solicitor to file a lawsuit against the redeveloper Outlaw in connection with the redevelopment of the site located within the Borough of Palmyra.
Thank you. May I have a motion for that, please?
So moved on what Ted said.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Mr. Almond,
Yes.
Dr. Cloud, Mrs. Jenkins,
Yes.
Mrs. McCann,
Yes.
Mrs. Russell,
Yes.
President Howard.
Yes.
Thank you. Now we're done. May I have a motion to close the meeting?
So moved.
Adjourn the
Sec-
meeting.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Thank you. Everyone have a nice holiday.
Have a
Enjoy
great
the rest of
evening.
your summer.
Be safe.
Good night, all.